Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. How's Eddie Frederick?
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that takes the lead in today's edition for Monday, 27th January 2025, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. Trinidad and Tobago's opposition leader doubles down on her comment regarding the Joe Biden administration and attract response from one group. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. The United National Congress's leader faces response by the Republic's LGBT community. Ranissa Cutting of TV6 News reports.
Opposition leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar is doubling down on her comments regarding the Joe Biden administration. In a press release today, Persad-Bissessar goes further to ask whether her critics support the following things which occurred under Biden's administration, including but not limited to gender pronouns, gender reassignment surgery for children, sexualization and grooming of children under the guise of human rights, adult men using the same public washrooms as little girls and women, and biological men participating in women's sports. The opposition leader made her stance clear on these issues as she welcomed U.S. President Donald Trump into office. But the statements have hired local LGBT advocacy group Pride TT, which is warning the UNC that this will not secure them votes in the upcoming general elections.
The first thing that I would like to ask her is to clearly define and explain what she means by woke extreme left-wing agenda. Because if we are talking about we are now going to openly disrespect and discriminate people based on their sexual orientation and gender identity, things that they have no control over, I would advise her, as well as all political parties who are contesting the general election this year, that this is not going to be a winning strategy.
Pride TT co-founder Kennedy Mirage would like the UNC to make it clear whether it is going against its own manifesto promise of upholding human rights for all.
In those previous manifestos, they said specifically that they were going to ensure that no discrimination would befall any person based on factors such as race and religion, someone's residence, political affiliation, and they also included sexual orientation in their previous manifestos. So I have to ask, is it that the UNC intends to contest this general election by creating more division and discrimination against the LGBTQ plus community in Trinidad and Tobago? And if that is the stance of the political leader of that party as well as the party itself, I am fairly certain that there's going to be a significant backlash, not just from the LGBTQ community, but from all segments of society.
Pride TT also hit back at Donald Trump's policy position that there are only two recognizable genders.
There has been so much research done by gender advocates and researchers and activists who have made credible contributions and have shown that gender is a social construct that exists on a spectrum.
Pride TT says the LGBT plus community deserves recognition and protection under the law. It's calling on the powers that be to take a firm position.
It's a call to action to us here in Trinidad and Tobago to state unequivocally where we stand as a nation against hate and discrimination. Listen, the fact is LGBTQ people exist, and we must recognize their human rights to be treated fairly, equally, and with basic respect.
Ranissa Cutting, TV6 News.
The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is reporting significant progress in its effort to combat crime with major recoveries of firearms, ammunition and illegal drugs, along with several arrests. In the wake of recent robberies, police officers will also be monitoring financial institutions and businesses. Here is TTT's Jason John with more.
After 26 days of the current state of emergency, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is reporting on the successes of their operations thus far. According to Deputy Commissioner of Police Operations, Junior Benjamin, the TTPS has executed 1,455 operations. He says they have also identified 1,316 targeted priority offenders.
We have conducted, at least to this point, 8,706 searches. From those searches, 1,142 persons have been arrested. We have recovered thus far 50 firearms, and we have also recovered 1,270 assorted ammunition. In terms of dangerous drugs seized thus far, we have had at least 155 kilograms of marijuana and 749 grams of cocaine.
With Carnival fast approaching, Assistant Commissioner of Police, Northwest and Special Operations, Richard Smith, is offering safety tips to members of the public, including limiting the amount of information they share on social media. He is also urging persons to be responsible on the roadways and to avoid driving while under the influence of alcohol.
You must be aware of your surroundings. When you're leaving your home, you must ensure that you secure your homes properly. Ensure that you don't leave lights on that could cause problems. Ensure that your children are safe and secure. Ensure that you do not accept drinks from strange persons or even accept rides from strange persons.
According to Sergeant Verson Javel, the TTPS continues their rigorous drive against gangs in Trinidad and Tobago. He says a number of investigations are now in advanced stages.
A number of these files have been submitted and are being reviewed by our legal team, and we hope to approach the Director of Public Prosecutions very soon with a view of securing not only prosecutions, but convictions against these individuals.
DCP Smith is encouraging members of the public to assist the TTPS in their crime-fighting initiatives. He says persons can safely contact the TTPS anti-crime hotline at 555. Jason John, TTT News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick, in association with our friends at
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
ICE agents arrest over 500 immigrants in sanctuary cities, including New York City. Stephen King of Channel 7 Eyewitness News reports.
Just 3 days into President Donald Trump's second term, ICE says it has made 538 arrests and detained 373 undocumented immigrants in sanctuary cities across the country. Here in New York, an alleged El Salvadorian MS-13 gang member, a Jamaican citizen facing child pornography charges, and a Honduran citizen convicted of drunk driving. The president's executive orders give federal authorities broad powers to detain and deport. The targets at the moment, though, appear to be suspected criminals, but New York City officials are prepared for anything.
We're in a wait-and-see mode. I mean, we don't know, how broad this is going to impact our folks.
New York's sanctuary city laws forbid city agencies from cooperating in all but criminal cases. The NYPD cannot assist in mass deportations. The fact that a person is present in the United States without lawful authorization is a civil matter, not a crime. Even the council's conservative members support that.
I don't think they're going to just start deporting anybody. They're going to focus on the criminals. Who would be against that?
This is not mass deportation of good people. This is mass deportation of the worst of the worst.
Mayor Adams, for his part, is urging the city's immigrant community to not be afraid.
Children should go to school. Those who need health care should go to hospitals. Those who are involved in any type of interaction where they're victims of a crime, they should speak to the law enforcement agencies. We've maintained that over and over again. And we're going to continue to stand up for all New Yorkers, documented and undocumented.
But some question the mayor's motives and his relationship with President Trump.
The mayor is somehow prohibitive from saying certain things about the new president, so I'm not sure that would happen.
The council speaker went on to say that she has yet to see a plan on how to deal with mass deportations. She adds that she believes the mayor should be more rigorous in his defense of the immigrant community. At City Hall, Stefan Kim, Channel 7. Eyewitness News.
Barbados is now chair of the African, Caribbean and Pacific Group. This was revealed by Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Kerry Simmons, who is presently in Davos for the World Economic Forum. He says a number of critical development issues have been discussed. One of them is the future of the World Trade Organization. Minister Simmons says tariffs were also discussed and notes the WTO is making some fundamental changes. He adds other topics of discussion included micro, small and medium-sized enterprises, the digital divide, which he says is critical for Barbados, and dispute settlement. Minister Simmons notes while some countries have made strides in the area of artificial intelligence, Barbados still needs to ensure that the basics are right and training is essential.
The question of the way in which we use tariffs is important, especially to small and micro and emerging economies such as ours in Barbados, because of the fact that we don't want a new form of protectionism to arise. And while we appreciate that people will have their own nationalistic interests, it is vitally important that that protectionism does not exclude us from international markets and stymie the opportunity for our businesses to be successful. Dispute settlement has been a major issue here with the World Trade Organization for some time, and that is because the United States has not wanted any third party to make decisions that impact its national interests and its own national direction. We take the position, and certainly I take the position as Foreign Minister, that it is critical to any type of commercial activity anywhere in the world that if there is a dispute, there must be a sound way of resolving that dispute. And the World Trade Organization is now trying to work around this impediment where for a long time we've had a void. There is no satisfactory resolution to disputes and conflicts, and that must be corrected.
Beaches in Antigua and Barbuda and around the region should brace for another surge of smelly sargassum seaweed based on latest forecasts. ABS's Helisha Humphreys reports.
The return of the sargassum seaweed invasion has been forecasted.
Dependent on what the wind does and what wave direction does, we're likely to start to get glimpses of sargassum picking up in terms of its amount throughout the month, throughout the latter half or the latter quarter of January. We might start to see some, but by February, I'm pretty sure, unless things change, and I won't know until the end of January when I see the new satellite update.
Although 2024 was one of the years when the sargassum nuisance was not as severe as in the previous years, there was still a significant amount of the seaweed reaching shores across the region.
6.6 million tons of sargassum per month on average throughout the entire region. At this point, if you live along the coastline that gets affected by sargassum, you should have developed some ways and means of dealing with it, right? You should have an idea of the best ways to clean your beach, and if not, you should reach out to the Department of Environment because they have some very good recommendations on that. You should have some ideas that if you're asthmatic, the kind of impacts it can have.
Camacho says, based on the sargassum maps, there is more sargassum now in the eastern and western Atlantic than there was in recent years. He says the last time the same level was recorded was in 2018-2019, with 2018 being the second worst year since the invasion began in 2011. 2022 is the worst year on record, but had less sargassum recorded on the maps. Camacho explains, though this year could be even worse, it is still too early to tell.
Normally, your northern and eastern shorelines are what gets affected greatest. But if you have shifting weather patterns, which has become increasingly more prevalent, particularly now in this increased rate of climate change, you can have different areas being affected by sargassum. So everyone really needs to pay attention to this.
Helisha Humphreys, ABS News.
St. Kitts and Nevis's Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew Minister with responsibility for citizenship and immigration, ended a three-day meeting Wednesday, 22nd January, that focused on the future of citizenship by investment. Glenn Bart of SKN Newsline filed this report.
According to government-sourced information, the discussion took place at Wilton Park, London, England, and it involved several other leaders from Eastern Caribbean countries that operate citizenship programs. Other regional and international stakeholders also participated in the discussions. The meeting allowed stakeholders to build better understanding and clarify elements of the CBI programs that have undergone significant changes during 2024. The St. Kitts and Nevis delegation included Attorney General Garth Wilkin and His Excellency Calvin St. Just, Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Citizenship by Investment Unit of St. Kitts and Nevis. Glenn Bart reporting for SK Newsline.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean.
In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.